Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Inner Game of Smash. My name's Tian, and I'm here joined by Theo,
Hello.
and we have a super awesome set of dual guests this week, actually. We have Emily Waves, Emily, and G Money. How are you guys doing?
Hey, doing good tonight.
I'm alright.
How are you doing?
I'm doing awesome. Just managed to make it home off of like a pretty crazy evening of experiments, and I guess I made it like with 5 minutes to spare. So yeah, we're here.
Like evil experiments? Like
Yeah, most definitely.
Okay.
Many mice were slain. Yeah. Yeah. So I was really looking forward to talking to you on our podcast for a while now. Actually, the only other TO we've had on the show thus far was Matt.Zeb, and at that point we were talking a lot about. I think it was Theo. Do you remember? I think it was Bus 3. That was.
Yeah, Bus 3 hadn't even happened yet, right? So we were
Right.
busy talking about how amazing it was going to be. It actually was amazing. It worked out. But we got to be super hyped for it instead of actually enjoying it.
Yeah, and I think we've also had Chi on before, twice now.
Yeah.
So. But regardless, we've always been really eager to hear more about things from like the TO's perspective, how events work out, and we're really grateful for all the great TOs that we've had in the scene, and we've definitely seen it in New England. But like TOs contribute so much to the growth of the scene. So just I guess going off of that idea, do you want to talk a little bit about how the New York scene has been since you and Jesse have gone so involved in growing up the scene?
Okay, that's a really big question.
Okay, yeah, you can break it down as much as you want.
Yeah, so I think the New York scene has really grown a lot since Jesse started running tournaments, like maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and then I came onto the team and helped to really, I think, kind of improve or at least reach the full potential of the events that we organize. So hopefully the events have gotten bigger and better. That's not to say that the events weren't good or that the New York City scene wasn't awesome beforehand, but I think at this point it's reached a new level where we have some really good organization. Between me and Jesse, we're both pretty professional, and we care a lot about the community. So our number one goal is always the player experience and the community. And neither of us are. We're both we're both full-time employees and have like our own careers and stuff. So we're not just in it for like money or something. Not that most TOs are, but
Maybe MVG. But
maybe not.
Oh, shots.
Like,
I think there are very few people I think there are very few ways to like do that anyway, so
yeah,
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 everybody in Smash is just because they want to.
it's great.
yeah.
Yeah, monetizing is definitely hard, and it seems like you can't like TO properly or run tournaments if you don't have the passion, right? So.
Yes, absolutely true. And and I guess the other thing is, this isn't just about New York City tournament organizing, but I really like how there's kind of this network of TOs too. So I've talked to Matt.Zeb and she about running stuff, about running events and helping like lead communities. And it's really awesome that we have this network and these resources to share ideas and stuff. Big shout outs to She. I think he brings like this awesome business acumen to event organization that we don't necessarily always see in like grassroots organizers.
Right. Yeah. So going off of that idea, maybe for G Money a little bit, like just comparing, New York Smash as it was then compared to how it is now. I definitely remember like smashing with you like in New York back in the, like. Do you remember like Web to Zone and like all those crazy?
Yeah, that's exactly
events?
when you
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think of the scene then compared to like the scene now?
That's interesting because I don't know, being like a player, right, or being like someone who focuses on the competition, you tend to care less about like where you are and like how the event's running and things like that. You're thinking about, okay, I want to play this guy, I want to beat this guy. But looking at it, like thinking back and trying to look at it, I remember Web2 Zone back in the day. They would get a good amount of numbers every week. So I would say like about. I think they're kind of. It's like a mirror image of Nebs. Like I kind of feel like they're kind of similar in a way. I think definitely today there's more of a sense of community and like not just so much as like everyone being friends, but more so as you can tell that the TOs are like working and trying to like help improve the events, and like just giving different ideas and different ways to run things and different kinds of events, and things like that. So New York is kind of that has like a whole bunch. There's so many people in New York, and like sometimes people don't show up for whatever reason, but I think right now it's definitely being run a little bit better, I would say.
Nice.
Do you know if there's like anything in specific that's better now?
Setups. So Nebs, we have minimally
Oh, you guys have a vault,
5 or
right?
30 setups. Huh?
You guys have a vault, right?
we have a
Do we still have
closet.
Okay.
But like minimally 25 setups. If we're running full
Holy
capacity,
moly.
like 40. Like if we actually put all of them out there.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
We definitely have a lot of setups. And like that's what I was saying too. Like as a player, you don't like necessarily think of all those things like, oh, you just happen to have setups here. Okay, cool. But when you put something else, is when you like realize that they don't actually have enough. So
Yeah. Especially when you go to tournaments that are like, hey, we'll give you free venue if you bring like a full setup. You're like, whoa, what is this?
Yeah.
Why do I bring a
we
TV
still do that.
all right.
Yeah.
There's no problem with that either. It's still community driven. We just happen to have that.
I think we just been like too good right now. Actually, it hasn't hit me like that.
Yeah, we're getting so spoiled. So it didn't really occur to me, but like in New York, most people don't really drive around to get to tournaments. You could just take
Yeah.
the subway. So the idea of like bringing a setup to like an event to get venue, it only kind of makes sense. But like definitely outside of New York, like in Jersey or Connecticut, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, right? Like you're kind of expected to like just lug a portable setup into your car and like bring it to the venue and get a few bucks off. But it's so cool that you guys just have like a vault / closet.
I didn't think about that either. Because I remember when I was driving, I always brought like 2 setups or something to it.
Yeah.
And like now I don't even do that.
Yeah, it's the golden age of Smash right now. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Emily, when what got you into like helping organizing events? Because I'm guessing you haven't done it your whole life.
She
I
just
was
likes-
born into the Smash
She just
community.
likes bossing people around and doesn't get. Oh yeah, you
Get
didn't
outta
sign
here.
up. No one, you're not entering teams. No team. You can enter.
Whatever.
That's what MLS do.
Anyway, to answer your question, Theo, I actually started TOing back in like 2010 or 2011 in Dallas, Texas, and
Oh.
there wasn't. Yeah, I moved down there for work, and there wasn't really much of a tournament scene. So I was like, "Fuck, man, I really or whatever. I really want to go to these tournaments and play Smash." And no one else was doing it, so I was like, "All right, I'll just do it myself." So I started TOing there, and ran quite a few events, at least like a monthly, back like 4 or 5 years ago, and thought it was really cool. And then when I moved back to New York, about a year and a half ago, I found I had a lot more time, so I went to Nebs for the first time, and I was like, hey, this is pretty cool. And I met Jesse. I'm like, hey, Jesse, what do you think about running an amateur bracket? Because that was one of the things that I was really proud about my tournaments back in Dallas.
Buster bracket.
Yeah, or the Buster.
The Buster bracket.
Yeah, which we took the name of for Super Nebs 4. But he's like, yeah, that's a great idea. Just do it. And Jesse's always super busy. He's like, if you want something done, you have to do it yourself. So I was like, all right, I'll just run this amateur bracket. So I started doing that, and lo and behold, I started bossing people around more and more, and became one of the TOs there.
Nice. Yeah. So Emily, on a scale of like I guess 1 to fiend, or I guess 1 to fiend, how much of a fiend are you?
Fiend!
Okay, what is this fiend thing? I don't get it. I'm not New York. What is it?
Oh, is it a thing? I don't know. It's just.
I think it might be in New York.
I just always assumed that it was a thing.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just really out of the loop. Okay.
A lot of the Tokened a lot of words, so. Anyway.
I don't know. It just means you're a fiend.
Oh, being a
Like
fiend
a
is like you really want, like,
fiend.
you know, like I gotta play melee, like let's go, like I'm
Okay.
fiend.
Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, let's
Oh.
fucking go. Let's go play some
Or, like
melee.
you're hungry, you just like you gotta eat. Like, you gotta, anything that's like you gotta do it.
Like you gotta play
Let's go.
teams.
Like
Okay.
if there's like 5 minutes on the TV between games and stuff, and like you just squeeze in to get a set. Yo, let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I get tight when I'm like training with people, and then like they take a while to press start to get to the.
I hate that.
and it's like
Oh my god. So that's actually one of the best things about like I don't know, like melee mods and 20xx is like the skip the win screen.
Yeah.
After going to that, like I can't play on a game. What, you have to set up like all the rules and stuff.
and then now you have the salty run back input. for the
AB,
start-
right?
or start,
Yeah.
Whatever.
LR Ace
You
Beast.
have to like pick the stage and characters again. It's so fast.
Oh yeah.
Ain't nobody got
Yes.
time to be
Mm-mm.
re-picking.
Hell no.
So the other rallying cry in New York is teams. Everyone always perks up for teams.
I
Like,
That's the
know, I
G
think
money.
that's a
That's the G Money special.
Money.
everyone loves teams. Though.
every major, and it's gonna happen at GOML and CEO. And as soon as I
Every
walk
day in
in,
your damn life.
as soon as I walk into the room, I just go. I take a super deep breath, like really deep, like a yoga, and then tease money match. And then I just rake in the dough from there.
Who are you gonna play with?
Have you ever lost a team's money match?
Never. No. That's
Actually-
All the
impossible.
time.
Actually,
Not-
so as of this year, starting with Genesis, we've been undefeated. Me and DJ, or me and the Mooses, they're my training people. One team beat us, which was Drug Fox and Plup.
Oh,
They beat us kind of solidly, which is salty, but everyone else doesn't even matter. It could be anybody. Armada, Mutu, King, Pew, Fat. We're about it.
Yeah, one
but
of
only
the
in money
hardest
match,
teams.
right?
Huh?
Only in a money match.
Right. Because the
Yeah.
tournament's too much work. I don't have a team for the tournament.
Mm,
DJ teams with Moon.
Echo.
yeah.
I have teammates, but not like someone that I can just be like, yo, any amount, anybody.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. To date, one of the hardest teams I've ever fought was G Money and Milk Tea. Impossible team to beat.
Yo, me and Milty are mad good.
Those are
So
both
good. So
teams.
We
good.
think plans.
team specialists.
We have,
right
I have stuff. So I have everything written down. I have who we're gonna play, who I'm playing.
there.
Hey, I'm ready.
Yeah, like I think during Evo, Swiftwaves and I were like playing against you guys, and we were trying progressively harder and harder and harder to the point where we're like, yo, we're giving it like 100%, and we're still getting bodied. It's so hard.
Jeez,
Yo,
baby.
Swift is in chat like, yeah, we got bodied.
Love teams.
Oh man. Yeah. So maybe like going back to the idea of like amateur brackets in Boston. In Texas. That used to definitely not be a thing. Like you would just enter a tournament, and then like PC Chris would come and like double four stock you, and that would be the end of your tournament run, more or less. Like you have like a little stint in losers, but that would be it. But now like it really seems like people are pushing more to keep people in the game, and not just to like hustle people for like venue or something. So do you want to talk about like how that's affected the scene and
Hustle.
it's changed?
Yeah. Huge fan of the amateur bracket. So, this came about when I started TOing in Texas with like 30 or 40 man tournaments. So they were pretty small, and we still ran pools. So it'd be like 4 or 5 person pools. Top 2 make it out to like a 16 person bracket or something. So this is pretty tiny. Like nowadays, I would never even think about running pools for 30 people. But what's really important is that for a newcomer or a new player, come to their first tournament and they go 0-2. And I know it's something that we all experienced, and something that we did like 10 years ago at our first tournaments. But that can be really discouraging to some people. And while I think it is kind of a hurdle a lot of people are able to cross, some people don't. Some people go like, oh, that tournament was really hard, like I'm just not going to go back. So why not try to retain those players, give them at least 4 or 5 good tournament sets, and then they go 0-2, and all the while, like, they'll get that chance to play the top player in their pool that like they've only heard of, but they get to play them. So I think that's really awesome for player retention. It's one of the best parts about Nets is round robin pools.
Right.
We've heard a lot of criticism, but a lot of positivity about it too. So people people kind of love it and they hate it. So I know G probably hates it. So
I have my own opinion on this.
So you can talk about that in a sec. But I think for higher level players, they definitely don't want pools. You know, they want to play, let's say 5 or 6 rounds or 5 or 6 sets and get the fuck out, get their money and get out. Whereas if you are a newer player, you're going to play 2 sets and then leave. But if you have pools, there's just more time to adjust to that tourney environment and, you know, practice. I just think it's awesome.
Yeah, so G, you said that you didn't really like doing round robins pools.
Here's my take on the thing, right? So I think that, so okay, let's say like being a higher level player versus like a lower level player or whatever. I feel as though, as someone who, I mean, I'm not trying to just like throw myself in the higher level player category or whatever, but for someone that at least wants to be a higher level player, I don't think that it necessarily makes a difference to kind of force them to play the lower level people by doing pools and doing round robin pools and all those kind of things like that. Because I feel like, you know, if you're someone who's looking to get better, you're just going to try to play. You're going to sit and like do your homework afterwards. So like, let's say you get knocked out 0-2. After you get knocked out, it's prime time to just sit there and play with other people. Say, hey, can I play a match with you? And like just do your rounds that way. I don't feel like having them play pools versus like the best players there is really going to do anything for their mentality or for their game or anything like that. I feel like they would just have to want to do it. Another thing is that being like a higher level player, you know, it's pretty stressful and you want to play a lot and you want to focus a lot, and then having to do that all day versus just when you need to for tournament can be kind of annoying. So, you know, that's why I wouldn't want to sit and play. Like, why would I sit and like focus a lot of my energy on playing people that like I know are kind of lower level, and I have to spend the whole day there, and then by the time I have to play like hacks and winners finals, I'm already tired from playing all those, from being there all day. So
so I get your concern, and to your first point, which is like for lower level players, they can just ask to play people. I don't think everyone has that though. Not everyone can just go up to you and be like, hey, G Money, like my name is so and so, will you come play me?
Yeah, you have to be pretty confident, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I feel like for you that might not be a problem, but for a lot of people, they don't want to do that. Like, people are shy. I probably wouldn't want to do that either.
Yeah, like.
So then, okay, let's say that that's true and that's the case, right? What does making them play me in my pool mean then? Like, all that means is that they're gonna get to play me, and then like, I don't know. Are you saying that some people would enjoy that?
Yes.
Just like,
totally.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
It really depends on the player. So some things I've noticed since we've started doing round robin pools more is that I feel like it detracts from like this feeling of resenting having a top player in your pool, right? So because there's more life to your tournament beyond just like getting knocked out and drowning in pools, you have another bracket to look forward to. So having Axe in your bracket isn't as crazy, like, you know, as an example or something like that, right? So I feel like it also promotes a lot of like aspects of like reputation and also like getting people to know how good the best players in your region are, right? So if you were to like just go O2 drop and like not make it any further beyond pools, I feel like you would just remember the tournament as like, oh man, like this stupid high level player was in my pool and I just didn't get to do anything. Like, you just beat me and that was that. But when you get to do round robin, like that means everyone in that pool apart from the pool captain gets to learn more about what the pool captain's all about, and I feel like it promotes growth and it encourages people to like know the people to beat, and it gives people goals. I think it's all in all mostly a good thing. But I also get what G's talking about in terms of like energy management, right? I guess if you're good at controlling yourself and not like turning it up to like 80% for most of your pools matches, you can get by well enough usually, and still have like energy to like fight hacks money in winners finals. But I know that doesn't apply to everyone, so.
Yeah, so like for the fatigue, that's definitely a real concern, and there's a couple things about that. First of all, there's a couple ways to combat that. You can float people out of pools, which is something I kind of want to experiment with a little bit more. even on like a more casual side. So for
What do you mean float people out of pools?
So for Super Neps 4, and I think like Genesis 3 did this
Okay.
for the first time. They like floated the top 64 players out of pools,
Right.
or out of round 1 pools, and just like let them advance. So that might be something we could experiment with, like on a rotating basis, like float like someone out of pools, just so they get like a free pass this one time. On the other hand, for top players, I get that it can be really exhausting, but everybody pays to play. Everybody pays to enter the tournament. So for the scrub who pays, $5 and goes 0-2, I feel like they get much less out of the tournament. So in a way, like you as a top player, I feel like have to kind of work at earning that money too. Not just by being good, but by, playing all those sets.
So I guess I want to chime in as well and say like I have my views and I have like things that I consider ideal, but I do like understand the other side of things. I guess like let's say like the lower level player side of things. But I feel like okay, if you float people out, then that's not necessarily fair, and everybody should have the same kind of tournament run. But I also feel like I also can understand, like, let's say if you're a lower level player and you just play like the best person and you just get destroyed, that can be frustrating as well. Although I feel like, that's just like paying your dues. But like, maybe there can be like some kind of middle ground. Like maybe we don't do pools and then we do regular bracket, and then if you lose, then you have a chance to do amateur bracket instead of like pools and then amateur and then pro. Thing like that.
Yeah.
I feel like
maybe like the first 2 rounds of if you like don't make it past the second round of losers or something, you can be distilled into like a new bracket for amateurs, something like that.
And then like or even something like okay, there's regular main bracket and then there's the if you want to enter bracket afterwards that doesn't have like a real prize, or maybe you might get like a little something or something, because top players won't have an incentive to enter that because it's like, oh, I'm just playing a bunch of friendlies for no reason. I'm not winning anything or whatever. But the people that want to learn and get better and improve themselves may have an incentive to enter that. Another thing was like, is that I feel like, I guess this is just like my mentality as well, but I'm there to go and fight and do my best, and then that's it, and then it is what it is. Like I don't really think, I don't know how I feel about a tournament being catered to someone of a lower level. You know what I'm trying to say? Like it's a tournament, like it's supposed to be, like it's supposed to be difficult. It's supposed to like you lose, that's it, and then you like kind of just get better. So I think things are getting mushed in there. It's like I think that you shouldn't be trying to enter a tournament to like have a good time, to have that kind of a good time.
But we do.
You know what I'm saying?
But we still do.
Like, yeah,
people definitely do.
There's this weird tension, right? Like when you
People
get out of a
are
tournament.
I just feel
always sad when they
I feel like
lose,
the issue. I feel like the issue is that we're all in a tournament, but there are people that have totally different mentalities on what they're there for, and then it's like it's hard to please everybody if they're both thinking different things,
And so someone in chat, I think Just a Tree, just brought up a good point, saying that like round robin pools also helps with seeding, because if you're seeding just a straight bracket and there is let's say like a mid to like a mid high level player that we don't know about, he's like a hidden boss or something, they might get seeded really low, and in a straight bracket that just sets them up for failure, because they're going to be playing your top seeds first and then get like double eliminated fairly quickly. So what round robin pools does is kind of it evens out that playing field too.
Smooths out.
Sorry?
It smooths things out a lot more so that the intermediate players also get representation.
Yeah, absolutely. And what we've seen when we do round robin pools is we see upsets all the time.
Wait, really?
All the time. We see.
All right, you've got to talk about some of these, like the most embarrassing upsets in New York.
And a lot of it, I don't know if it's like our own seeding, probably not. Actually, it might be, but it's just like these random New York players that don't go to New York, that don't go to tournaments, or when New England comes out of nowhere, people just visiting that we don't really know about. So, for example, DRJ this Dominican Republic Huff player. Like, he came up to New York, didn't really tell us that he was amazing, and then I think he got third. He, like beat a bunch of people.
He didn't play me.
That's really important for us to know.
I'm sure you would have.
I beat his friend, though, whoever that Sheik player was.
And, who's the Peach player from New England?
Ryan.
Just came up.
Ryan,
yeah. So, like, Ryan came, and I remember we were, like, looking at his name, and we were like, no, I don't think he's actually, like, the good player. I think that's just some random guy. And, of course, he, like, does super well. And if we had seeded him into a double elimination bracket, into, like, let's say the lower half, he might have just gotten bracket fucked. And
there's
that's
no
it.
way he would have made it out. Ryan's a god.
Well, like his run might just not be as successful. Like, instead of getting third or fourth, he might have gotten 13th,
Right.
17th.
So the thing is, with the idea of consistency, let's say he does get bracket, I can say fucked. Let's say
You
he
can say that.
say he does get bracket screwed. That could be his one. He shouldn't be getting bracket screwed consistently. It shouldn't happen multiple times.
But I disagree, because in New York, there's so many people, there's so many new players every single tournament, and we get three-way ties, I would say, once every 2 tournaments.
Wow.
Like a three-way tie for like third or sometimes second, like on the
And
cusp.
like really hype three-way ties too, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think so too.
So then, like, couldn't you eventually just say, like, then it kind of doesn't really matter how things go because there's just so many good players, so many people around the same level, you know?
Well, I think that calls for round robin even more, because how are we going to seed, seeds 10 through 30 if there's such huge fluctuations?
But then
Right.
if they're all the same level, then it may not need seeding, is what I'm saying.
Oh, just like putting them in there?
If they're all the same. If they're all,
I think people would complain. Yeah, a little bit.
Have you ever seeded a bracket?
probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
People will
who are
complain
some?
no matter what about seating, though.
I was gonna say, like, okay, so the goal is to, have players kind of represented better, as opposed to just like getting destroyed by good players. I mean, like, maybe is there other things that we could think about to maybe try to include them, or like lower level people that want to play higher level people but like don't want to just go up to them and ask. Like, maybe we can like just have like little fun events for that kind of thing, or
Like doubles, top level player with a scrub.
Oh, I've never done that. Are those successful, those events?
I
Um,
haven't really done them.
We actually did something like that. Well, not me. Like the TOs at like an NYU tournament.
Mhm.
They did that. They did low tier doubles. Like
Where you had to play with a scrub.
yeah, like a top player with a scrub.
Scrub.
Okay.
And it was like pretty fun. It was fucking low tiers, so
Yeah, so that kind of throws
I love
everything out the
Young
window.
Link. I like low tiers. You like Young Link boys.
mm-mm.
Throw everything at you. Throw everything.
Yeah, so
Young
was-
Link is banned at New England low tier tournaments for whatever
It should
reason.
be. He
Link or Young
Because
Link?
of
Young
Doswa.
Link. Big Link
Because
is
of
okay.
Doswa.
Yeah, he should not count as low tier.
Wait, who?
I'm so over this.
Doswa's Young Link is amazing.
I'll beat him up. Yeah, double Young Link Ditto.
Alright. Alright.
I play Young Link, man. I think I'm just gonna pick him.
Young Link's
I'd
good.
probably be pretty hyped. Doswa versus G Money and Young Link Dittos.
Young Link is the most boring.
What are you
character
talking
to
What are you
about?
talking about? He can
They're
attack
so
by throwing
fast.
All the items. My dude is like, whatever. You need a fork, yo, fork right here, yo. You got everything you need.
bombs. Young Link is hype, dude. Have you seen what Axe is doing with Young Link, where he just lays a bomb on the floor? So he throws a
yeah.
bomb, picks up another bomb, and then he goes for a down here. Who doesn't get hype over that? That's amazing.
That's baby stuff. What I do is I'm on a
It's
platform
babies.
and you drop through the platform and lay the bomb down, and then you throw another bomb up, and then it'll slide over in front of you. So it's like
Oh.
protection.
Yeah,
My Young Link, man.
you can have like the
Did you
bombs.
know? Did you know Young Link can do all of his B moves from the ledge? He can ledge hop an arrow and grab it again, and ledge hop grab and ledge hop bomb and
Let's
grab
just
it
pick up a
again.
bomb. Yeah, it's godlike.
I don't even know. Yo, don't even.
Boomerang?
Young Link tips with
He can
G.
do all the B moves from the ledge and grab it again.
Wow.
Young Link is a god.
Young Link, man, that's in youth.
Yeah, so I got to hear a little bit more about some of these like upsets because like I just from playing randomly in New Jersey and New York just when I'm at home visiting, I got to play against this guy called Two Saint who was up and coming at that point, who's gotten to be really good now. Like I've seen practice with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's improved so freaking much. I remember.
Much.
Yeah, I think his first tournament that he came to Nebs, he didn't make it out of pools, but he got second place in amateur bracket, and everyone was just like, "Who the fuck is this kid?" Like we were watching his puff. We streamed it after grand finals of the regular bracket, and everyone was just like super impressed by him. And then he's been coming out, and he gets seeded very well now.
Definitely.
And I think round robin really helps with that because, again, if you go straight bracket, it keeps low level players low. If you seed a mid level player very low, they will get fucked every single time, and they'll never be able to perform that. Okay, maybe they'll be able to, but
the thing is, like, you might win like 2 more rounds in losers when you've gotten better, but the TOs, they just see you placed like 49th and 33rd. They just still remember you as that bad person and keep seeding you randomly low. So
the rich get richer,
Yeah, it's really hard to get that like insane losers bracket run where you get noticed because you'd have to win like 12 sets, and even if you're good, that's hard because there's variance in every game, right? So you have to be playing amazing and kind of lucky.
So here's my thing, right? Let's say like you're a high level player, like. Would you agree that high-level players would be high-level players whether or not they got seeded when they were starting out?
Yes.
Yeah.
When they were starting out?
Yeah.
I mean, I think
I feel like
probably, but it's at some point you sort of have to confront the fact that you lose, and I feel like if you have the hunger and you just keep on wanting to play more, even if you go 0-2 drop. Regardless of like how your beginnings are, you're going to be amazing, right? If you have the persistence and the talent, but it sort of delays that process for them, or it could, because it's like discouraging to lose. You don't know if you don't know how good you'll ultimately be, right?
Right, but I also feel like, what do you feel like? Let's say you go 0-2, your tournament run is over, but like, I mean, I don't think that plays much of a role of how you should improve later on. Like, I don't think how you perform in tournament.
That's kind of a tough love.
I think a player like Toussaint actually would sort of have his like growth maybe delayed a little bit if it weren't for the existence of something like amateur bracket, where people would get to see him play more and realize like, wow, like he didn't make it into bracket, but this guy's kind of amazing, right?
But then he might also like feel accomplished too early, right? Because like winning the amateur bracket, it means something, but really it means nothing. So like that, he might have decided he's made it now, and like, because when you first realize you're good, that's when you start playing terrible, because now you think you're amazing, you stop practicing, and you're super cocky, and then you lose to lots of people.
Yeah, that's fine from our perspective, right? Because the point is that we want them to feel, included or feel like they're having a good time at the event. So if they choose to feel complacent after winning the amateur bracket, then that's not really bad, right?
But that didn't happen.
We also shouldn't take away from their accomplishments.
Yeah, I mean, that was just like an idea. Maybe that never happens, which would be great.
It can happen.
It's easy to like. I feel like it's easy to like sort of diminish accomplishments from like a position of power looking down, saying like, oh, these guys, like, this bracket doesn't matter anyway because like what does that even mean, right? But for a lot of people getting into the game, that's sometimes like that's all the validation they need to push themselves further and to transition from getting like second or third in amateur bracket to making out of pools to being a really well-seeded player in your region. Like, it's hard to say like which event really tips you to the point where like you have enough confidence to pursue greatness. So
I guess
sorry, G. I think I'm a little in favor of doing round robins. I think it's a pretty good system, but obviously at nationals, it's not really possible.
At nationals, I think it's different on how many days you have to run the tournament. Because if you run it at a 3-day national, then you do pools one day, bracket another day, and like top 8 the third day.
What do you even stream on your pool then? Like, it just gets so chaotic with
well,
round
what
robin.
they've been doing now is just you don't stream pools and you stream random crew battles instead. But that's been working pretty well.
I guess.
And there's always a way to compromise as well. So, that's floating people out of pools or experimenting with alternative bracket types, which would be
like Swiss. How about that?
Bracket of alternative
I
success.
really, really want to try Swiss. Chris Farina has invaded our minds and really planted the seed that we should really try Swiss. So I want to do that one day.
It's truly an excellent cheese. I agree.
I don't know.
I don't know how I feel about floating people out because
Yeah, we haven't done it yet.
because
which is
like
nice,
I could
though.
totally slice West balls up any day of the week, like slice. Because Melee's that kind of game with so many different matchups and stages matter, and there's all kinds of things that can be wonky. Like any random piece can do well versus like West balls as Falco, or just like a matchup that's easy. It's the kind of matches that's like kind of in their favor. So floating people out avoids the possible upsets that could happen. So I don't really like that. Like not in Smash. Like maybe.
Well, no, floating people out doesn't mean like you versus West balls doesn't happen. Floating people out means West balls versus like.
It means West
D
balls.
doesn't happen.
He like artificially got a few wins though, right? So it's almost like he didn't play the same tournament as everyone else. It's not like a true competition anymore. It's,
Yeah, I think I agree with Theo because like I like the idea of people like having to earn their wins. So like we see things kind of differently like in Smash Brothers where upsets are relatively uncommon. Like even if you're a little bit better than your opponent and you're playing like an even matchup, chances are you're gonna win like like a huge majority of the games, even if you're just like a shade more skilled. However, like I feel like in other fighting games like Street Fighter, like when you have like quote unquote gods like losing pretty early on in a tournament, that's not altogether too unexpected, and I think people like sort of like accept it more as like just being a thing that happens, right? So like in their sense, like if like Justin Wong like lost in like round 3 of winners or something, it would just be like, oh yeah, crazy tournament, right? I feel like that would be the go-to response. But for us, it would be like, whoa, like Matt.Zeb lost to like this random Yoshi or something. That would be much more like sensational.
So the floating people out of bracket, I don't think is necessarily because it is fair. It's not because it's the most balanced or objective way to do it. It really is a top player privilege thing. It's a, hey, we understand that like the fatigue does exist. We know you're a good player. We're going to give you a pass this time. And that's why it shouldn't necessarily be all the time, and it shouldn't necessarily be the same players either.
But then that's not fair for everyone else that has to play.
But if there's like a rotating basis of like for example, if we had the New York top 20 PR players, and like at every tournament, one of them gets to float out of pools. We haven't done this, by the way, and I haven't really talked to Jesse about
It's really hard.
But
I think
hypothetically,
I think Smash.
Jesse would probably tell you like you could do it, but you're gonna have to take the initiative.
probably.
Maybe.
Usually his answer.
Shouts, Jesse.
I think Smash as a game is just too crazy to kind of have like certain set rules like this, like certain set rules and regulations. Because like let's say Jigs versus Peach is a terrible matchup, right?
No, yeah, for Jigs, right?
Right, and let's say Armada is good enough. What do you say?
He said for Jigs.
Sure.
Anyway, so yeah, Peach versus Jigs is terrible, but like someone like Armada can have like a pocket five, so he might just be good enough outright. But then like let's say this Jigs, like the guy that came from wherever he came from.
DRJ New.
Let's say like he plays MacD and like he could probably beat MacD, whereas MacD is a really high ranked player. But like if MacD gets floated out, then that doesn't get to happen or something like that. Like Smash has too much variant to do like to make these kind of things.
Right, but again, the point isn't that it's fair. The point, like here's a bone, like you come to these weeklies.
But then like
just take a break.
Yeah. So my issue with floating people out is I feel like Smash is actually relatively low variance compared to some other games. Like upsets happen, I feel, less frequently in Smash Brothers than it does in like Marvel or Street Fighter.
I wouldn't say so. I think
so.
I wouldn't agree with that. I think that happens, but just not on the higher level players. Like you don't see the gods and then like the people near the gods lose as often, but the people below them I think lose to random people.
Like even Plup got like 49th at Apex, right? So
that wasn't that crazy. I don't think he was still like a full-time like Samus main at that point, and I was heckling him pretty hard, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
He's playing against Swedish Delight. Yeah.
But I think it's only really the gods that it would be. I think it's only really like the gods area that
Right.
is far fetched or like it's very rare to see like an upset like that. But I think below that you can see all like kinds of upsets.
There
Yeah,
are.
but I feel like
Speaking
players
of-
like Daigo don't make like top 8 of Evo like pretty much all the time. Like there's
yeah, Street Fighter for sure.
just a huge pool of players, and like sometimes like the guys you expect to reach the top just like sort of fizzle out, like, you know, without getting into the top 8. It's weird. But
Yeah.
anywent, that's
So,
sort of a different
upsets
topic.
do definitely happen in like speaking of another up and coming player, I guess like Subtle, for example.
Ooh.
He's been like seriously tearing shit up for the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
I think he beat a certain Falco a couple times. I
I
won't mention who. I don't remember who it was.
He played
But-
my Marth. I was trying to learn the Marth matchup so I don't have to keep switching between Marth and Falco. And when I went Falco the one time, it was almost like a 4-stock. But anyway, he beat me like a couple times or whatever. Not saying that it was it was because I gotta went Falco, but
Yeah.
he's been doing well.
But agreed.
Subtle's a Long Island shoot player.
Yes, but he actually lives with Jesse now, so he's in Brooklyn.
Nice.
But his Sheik has like vastly improved, and in a normal pool, it might be like would be the first seed and Subtle would be the second seed. And actually, I think this did happen, and like Subtle would upset him, and he would all of a sudden be the first seed, and that's something you definitely wouldn't see in just a double elimination bracket, or if you floated people out. So it's kind of like, you know,
Other up and comers in New York, I would say like Just Jason is amazing. Like it's just a matter of time before that guy like starts to like really do damage, you know, out of region.
absolutely.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean I really like that. You know, it's as much as it might kind of suck to realize that like the game's getting harder and harder because you're being pushed more and more, and that you can't just like sit comfortably at any position. Like you have to realize that people are sort of chasing you from below, right? And you have to work to maintain your spots. That I think overall it's like good for the health of the game. Like
Yeah.
that it just doesn't cement, right?
I think so.
I mean,
And, like,
don't.
You know, when we're talking about this in terms of like what is fair and what will like kind of really determine what rankings are, like hypothetically, everyone should just play the entire round robin. It should be like
Yeah.
a person round robin. We should play like a million sets, like a million times, and that would be like the most fair way to do it. That's just not realistic, and it's just never going to happen. So like at some point, we do have to compromise and like see some middle
Right.
ground.
So can you remind me again of your guys' standpoint and the reason why just playing outright, like, okay, let me explain. I mean, I understand the general problem with this, but explain to me why, because I'm not a TO, why it's not a good idea to just not even seed, even if it's like Evo size tournament, put everybody in there and let's see what happens. Like, explain to me.
Oh.
Wait, what? Like even the
Yeah, just explain to me like I guess how the data works or whatever. Like, so that
Just
means
mathematically,
that means you're not gonna have like good player lineup with good player by winners finals.
you're
Well,
gonna have
you'll
good player
always-
versus good player like in winners finals, but like the odds of having first seeded player versus second seeded player at meeting in winners finals is gonna be like less likely. So
Mhm.
let's say Mango and PC are on the top part of the bracket, and they were like first and second seed, and I don't know, like Ken and Isaiah.
Fucking super
This tournament is
Okay.
easy.
Yeah.
I want
Alright,
to
fine,
join.
fine,
Mango and Pete.
Squibble is 5th seed
Okay,
because I got it in my time machine.
So I feel like if you don't see tournaments, they turn out to be a lot lumpier, in the sense that, you know, you might have like first and second meeting really early on in the tournament, and then second would do like a tear through losers, and like, you know, you end up getting like some weird results, and chances are the player who was seeded second will have to go through a harder losers run to make it back to grand finals, but that doesn't always happen, especially if they play a character that's like more vulnerable to upsets. Like if West Balls was the second seeded player in that sense, and he like had like a peach gauntlet through losers bracket, you know, the odds of him making it out would be substantially harder. So
Okay, so then the next best thing is to say, okay, let's seed the tournament, let's seed the bracket, so that way we can try to line things up better.
Yeah.
And then the next best thing above that is to say, okay, let's do pools to make sure that our seeding is a true seeding,
Yeah.
so to speak, right? Okay, so, okay, yeah, that's cool. I'll just make sure I understand.
What we could do is do triple elimination and then the top 3 will always be right. Because in double elimination, you could seed everyone wrong, and assuming you always beat people worse than you, regardless of matchup, which is a big if, the top 2 people will always make it to the top. But then third through last could be in a random order. But if you do triple elimination, you get the top 3. So top 8 gets paid out. So if we do octo elimination, it should work out.
Wow, I don't think I just Googled triple elimination bracket because I don't think I've seen it.
But I'm assuming only. Wow.
That's interesting.
But that also take probably longer than round robin pools.
Would it really?
Octo elimination?
No way.
Wait, octo?
I think you just add like one.
Maybe you could set it up to
Triple elimination.
maybe you could set it up to not be the entire tournament to be triple elimination, but after a certain point, make it triple or something like that. I don't know.
Double lim adds twice as many sets because you have one for each.
Right.
You have 2 between each round. So triple elimination would add 4 times as many as single. So you'd have now 7 like single elimination brackets worth of matches.
But I don't know if it would necessarily be longer than pools because, like, a double elimination bracket just runs super fast.
Pools take forever. Like every single pool is practically a tournament in and of itself, right?
Yes.
It's like a mini tournament. So the thing I don't like about triple elimination, and I've heard about it before, is that you can actually intentionally throw matches to dodge bad matchups more easily. That's something you can do. That's something you can do in single elim, right? You can already do that in single elim, but it punishes you so
not
hard.
In single. You can't do it in single.
Sorry, in double.
Yeah.
In double elim, you can do it like, but it punishes you really hard because you're so far behind in losers. But in triple elim, like if you feel like you have like a better shot of like dodging this one guy, you can just lurk through like the lowest bracket and make it through that way. It's pretty crazy. It means that you would have to beat like the winner through winner's side, like hypothetically, like in 3 sets, which would be a bit of a hype killer.
All right, we're definitely gonna do triple elimination just because it's like it just sounds funny. It's funny to say like this triple elimination. I don't think Challenge supports that, and Smash UG definitely doesn't support that. We'll have to like handwrite it.
You could treat it as like an experiment and see like how it runs. Like, you get tournaments so often these days that you have like the resources to try things out. See, you could try Swiss out for one of the events and see how that goes. Like triple elimination if that suits your fancy. Point is, I feel like TOs have a lot of control over like event turnouts, and sometimes like doing these like spicy events like really does get people to come. We've had weird events in England where we had like items on or low tier battle and reverse mains. That was super cool.
It's so fun.
Reverse mains is like
we usually do those on like slow days. We'll have like a side event. We just did low tiers like 2 weeks ago. But
reverse mains is the greatest. You have to play the main of your opponent, and he has to do like vice versa as well.
So guess who won our reverse main tournament?
Let me think. DJ Nintendo.
He wasn't there actually.
He would. He's good at he mains random pretty much.
It was OTG.
Wow, that's surprising.
I believe so. This was probably like 2 months ago.
Wow, I've only ever thought of OTGs like in terms of like Space Animals and the Marios. So.
Well, yeah. So like his Space Animals are really good. Everybody else's doc is not that good. And I think maybe Green Ranger was up there too. Because
nobody knows how to play Donkey Kong, right?
Right, exactly. So like, what the fuck is this monkey?
But he knows how Donkey Kong loses.
Yeah.
Be yourself, but a really bad version of yourself.
Actually, Tian, I want to go back to this point that you made, which is that we can totally experiment. I love this idea. So we run a weekly, right? And after a while, it gets kind of boring. It's the same thing every Saturday.
It's so boring. It's so fun. That's why everyone goes.
Well, it's kind of the same thing every week. I find it a lot of fun, but we should definitely spice things up a little bit.
Games.
And the awesome thing about like Jesse and the Nebulous team is we always want to try new shit out. Like Jesse is always doing some shit with like the meta and like frame data weirdness and stuff.
Stretching hands.
And so like trying alternative bracket formats Totally. In fact, now I really want to do triple elimination this week, or do Swiss. I don't know, just something weird.
I think one of the best ways to get people to be interested in your tournament is to have like guest players, like people who are out of region, guys to beat. So we see this in England where like Xanadu is a pretty good example. I would say whenever Kage or like any of the Canadian players come to like Mass Madness or any big Boston event, like you can pretty much expect to see like an increase in attendees by like 20 to 30%. It's insane how many people like just show up literally just to watch them play or play against them. It brings people out of the woodwork, and I feel like New York is like it's kind of kind of understated like just exactly how much talent is currently available in New York. Like these days we don't really see Zangozen at like Nebulous anymore, right? But if you were to like do a small incentive to get Zangozen to Nebs, like maybe alongside like Swedish or something, like I feel like people would show up in like pretty big numbers just to see them play. And similarly, like other like Boston players or something, people who would have to travel slightly further to make an event, like people you might not get to see as often, like Matt.Zeb, right? I feel like people would be definitely interested in like playing guys like that.
And
you can go further south.
South too, yeah, like DC, Philly,
Philadelphia, Cactuar and Zoo. Like, well, maybe not Zoo anymore, but people would show up to play them.
That's interesting. I wrote that down. I think that's something we should consider because, not gonna lie, I think our turnout has been steadily decreasing with finals and.
I'm gonna bring up one final example. So there was a tournament last weekend called New Fish in Troy, New York. I considered going to that event because it showed up on Smash.gg. I wanted to go just because Cobalt was there. That was the only draw. Yeah. He was the only guy like on the guest list that like I really, really wanted to play. I was like, all right, this is gonna be like a 5-hour trip for me, and this is gonna be YOLO as hell. But if I do go, it's gonna be really worth it because I'll get to like play and bounce ideas off of Cobalt. That's awesome.
Was that the first time you met him?
No, I actually didn't go. But I'm speaking to like the ability of like top players to draw other players there. This event just like wasn't publicized in New England very much, but just going and seeing it on Smash.gg, I was like, tournament with Cobalt, I'm interested, right? There's such a different effect that way. So yeah, I think that's like definitely like an avenue to consider. And
did they fly him up specifically?
I'm not sure. He might have been in the area to visit, or to like maybe he was flown up. But he alone caused like a New England carpool to like pursue him. Like, and it included like Zoso and like I want to say Mafia and Slox. Like a lot of people like scheming to go and beat him, but I don't think we were successful. Yeah, he did say it was very hard though.
The tournament.
Yeah, and I think he won, but I mean that's like, you know, if it weren't like a player like Cobalt, if it were a player like I don't know, like Weon X or like Kirby Kaze coming to like a random Nebs, like that would be amazing. So I really like what we did last summer.
Up to a Nebs, so.
Yeah, I really like what we did last summer, where you guys had like crazy high profile players coming like pretty often. And I get that this is like a slightly less busy season, but I'm really looking forward to like a good summer of Smash ahead of us.
Well, summer's the biggest time, right? Because all the Smashers are students, so they can't be taking classes in the summer.
A lot of Smashers are students, Theo.
Yeah.
Let's take it easy here. How about they're a little older?
Okay. Boston is really bad because
all
it's
Smashers
like
are students,
such a college town. I'm pretty sure New Game Plus is like 90% college students.
I would say that all Smashers are students. We're just students of the game.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Emily just like literally rolled her eyes.
Really cheesy.
It's a good pickup line. What can I say?
I was thinking it.
Oh, one thing I wanted to ask really quickly before we get too distracted on like these cheesy lines. I was wondering if, as a TO, you've developed like a new appreciation for the game, and also like a new appreciation for like numbers and also like seeding. Like, you know, okay, so I feel like this kind of thing happens a lot, where on a PR or something, or like after following like a hard tournament, people will be like, I'm better than this, I didn't deserve this result. And even though everything that's happened, you know, like funneled me into getting like 7th at this event.
That describes me perfectly.
I think I'm like the 3rd best player, or I'm the best player at this event. It just didn't happen for me this time. So as a TO, like getting more exposure to narratives like that and like people complaining about things like that, do you have more of an appreciation for like hard numbers now? Like, do you just trust people by like word of mouth how good they purport to be, or do you trust results more?
Oh, it's so hard because results are just head to head, and that's not necessarily the best way to determine a ranking, because you can have really good player matchups, but not necessarily do very well against other people of the same caliber, if that makes
Right.
sense. So, fuck, man. Seeding is just really hard in general, especially in New York, because people are always changing their skill level, basically.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
some people who are more active are less active, are very inconsistent. That's why pools are kind of awesome, because it's like, you guys figure out the seeding. Like, just
Yeah.
figure it out. But I personally really like just going with hard numbers. It's hard to look at results though and really take them into account. I would really just prefer to have a full out PR, level top 1 to 200, and like just use that, and that's it.
PRs always get people salty though.
I
Always.
know, but you know what? Like, what's the difference between 50 and like 40 or 45?
Well, it's always the cutoffs, right?
Right.
Like if you're the 17th best player in the region, that's going to be the first person who has to be a second seed for if you're doing 16 pools. Or
Right.
it means like there's a big difference between being like 8th and being 9th, for example.
True.
So weird things like that happen. Just like someone's going to be marginalized a little bit.
That's also true. And I feel like this is gonna bite me back in the ass or something, but like, if you complain a lot, sometimes it's like, oh god, I'm like just sick of hearing everyone complain about seating. Like, just fucking get better.
I mean, that's my response. I don't know if you guys can hear me.
We can hear you.
But yeah, that'll just
Definitely.
be.
Yeah.
I feel like
So complaining is a waste of time.
it's always
Not
it's always
really.
annoying to hear like, oh well, why couldn't you do something that works towards me and my benefit? Like, I feel like for everyone, being the best is not like their main goal, and I feel like then you should just hold that if that's not your goal. If someone else is working towards being the best and they're gonna be seated above you and they're gonna always have better placings, and that's what you get. Like, that's what you put into it, and that's what you get. So it's like, I don't know. It's just hard for me to accept a lot of these like things of like, because like when it's a tournament, like, you're not there to just like play around. Like, it's not like a smash,
But
Yeah.
at the same time, I wonder if you're kind of biased, because regardless of where you are seated, like you specifically, you're gonna make top 5.
Right? But I wasn't born that way, and I lost for years when I was
True.
going to Web 2 Zone, and I remember I played Jaden like at like my second Web 2 Zone, and then I beat him, and then he got really upset. And then it's just like, that's what you do. You just grind and you do it. And like, Melee is a freaking hard game and it takes forever to do that. But I mean, like, that's the life. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. Like, you can't just be like, all right, I understand you're not that good, but I'm going to try to work this out for you. Like, you're supposed to be like, I'm going to kill him. Like,
That's why Emily is a great TO. She'll like never take nonsense like that. Yeah.
I lost we all lost for so long, Like, depends on what your goal is, on what you want. If you want to go play, then just go play. If you're going to a tournament, like, this is a tournament,
So you think
I
we
will
should
say-
get players?
I will say one thing about PRs that does bother me a little bit. It's like the sense of urgency that often comes with PRs, because oftentimes like there'll be just like these rules that say like if you haven't been active in like if you haven't entered like 4 tournaments in the last 2 months, you're not eligible to be on the PR. And that's like that goal is it's variably hard for different people, right? So if you had to make 4 tournaments in 2 months, that's a tournament every other week for some people. So that can be hard, especially when you don't have access to tournaments. So I definitely sympathize for players who get dropped out of PRs because like due to inactivity, right? There's never been like a doubt in my mind that like Dazo is still one of quote unquote like the better players in New England, or that Dark would still be amazing if he like turn out for events, right? No, I'm
So
serious.
good.
Axe is not on our PR.
Hax is not on your PR, right? Like so.
Like, clearly he'll
There's all these like weird corner cases where like guys who clearly are deserving of good spots like don't get placed, and there's like ambiguity as to like what's going to happen to them. Like at some point you do have to see them for an event, right? So who do you put them above? Who do you put them under? Does Hax become an unseeded player if he doesn't show up to your events for like a year? I mean,
No,
it's
obvious.
I know, but what I'm trying to say is that like there's still a sense that you have to give people the benefit of the doubt at some point, and there's going to be some subjectivity that enters like this whole construct of PRs.
Always. And so like another example of that, and I'm sure you know him very well, like Papa John. He's
The greatest of all time.
he's like a pretty good player.
Oh, John's amazing. Like,
yeah, of course. I think he's
Melee and Ami top 25 for sure.
no doubt.
We love you, John. Yeah, we
But,
think you're really good.
He'll never watch this. But so, you know, like obviously we'll try to seed him very well, even though he's entered like one singles tournament in the last year. You know,
John's a beast.
we just know, like we know, yeah, we know who the good players are for the most part, unless
Yeah.
they're.
I think that's true. Like, once you've seen things enough, like, the strong players know the strong players, and the TOs know everyone. So,
Yeah.
it makes
What
more
if-
sense.
What about instead of trying to do things in tournament, like trying to do things outside of tournament? So like so like personally, I feel like, okay, if you lose, you go 0-2, it's your responsibility to go, hey, sit down and play me again. I don't like, I got destroyed, come play me. So like for the people that don't do that, I think it's just better to try to think of things to involve them that are outside of the actual tournament.
Mhm.
Yeah, I remember when I was starting out, I thought all these top players were super scary and super cliquey, and I wasn't cool enough to hang out with them. So I don't know if there was some way to encourage like top.
Yeah.
I don't know, just encourage young, like newer people to just be more open, because it can be a bit intimidating.
Or just like, it could just be anything, like don't forget to now's your, they can like announce on the speaker, like now's your time to play, you know, like everybody that you want to play before the bracket starts, or like how they do at the Foundry, like Mango versus the Baddies or whatever,
I remember that, yeah.
and
that's cute.
do stuff like that.
Was-
Like, okay, they get their chance to
Mhm.
play, and they can see how they did versus other people if they want to do that kind of thing.
So, I think one of the most important things that's understated about building community in the Smash community is actually hosting awesome dinner hangouts afterwards. So everyone knows those tournaments where you end at like 9 o'clock or something, and everyone's famished because they've been playing Smash Brothers all day. It makes all the difference if there are places open at that point for people just to let loose. The players who did really well get to, like, you know, bask in their glory a little bit. The players who, like, haven't done as well and who are trying to get to know these people, get to sit down with them, realize that they're real people, and, like, you know, share a burrito or something. It's awesome. I love events like that. So all I'm really saying is that, like, when events start early and end early, these opportunities crop up more often. The fiends who really want to play more, they get to stay around, or they get to, like, go home and, like, lab with their friends and stuff, right? And you have these social events where it's not just about playing the game; it's about discussing the game and like forming new bonds. So
That could
Yeah.
help what Theo was talking about with the top players seeming intimidating or whatever. But then, like, if you hang out with them
Mhm.
after the event, then like maybe it's easier that way.
Yeah.
Walk to them and play games or something.
yeah, for sure. All right, it's been a pretty awesome show so far. It is getting kind of late. I was wondering if you guys had any closing remarks, any shout outs you guys wanted to make, like Emily or G-Money. Like, first of all, thanks again for coming on to our show. But
Thanks, guys.
Thanks
Yeah.
for having us. And
awesome conversation. Yeah, any shout outs?
Shout out. I mean, I
No.
didn't even know I was gonna be on here. I don't know who I would shout out and for what reason. I guess shout out to Swift for being in the chat. I don't know.
Shout outs to
Getting me
Swift
up
for
on my phone,
getting.
too.
Is he getting what is this like banned? Like why does he keep getting banned or modded out?
Message
Because he
deleted.
keeps typing in all caps.
Is that automatic
Like
or
a-
like
Yeah.
okay, good.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Keep censoring.
In the Palm Hotel, handcuffs.
Free Swift.
Mod Swift.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no, I have a couple. All right, I have a couple shout outs.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Let me get my list here. So, obviously, like, shout outs to the Nebs team. Like, everyone on there, obviously Jesse, but not just Jesse, because where the fuck has he been? Like, to the TOs that you have not heard of, that make that shit happen every day. So, you know, there's Orbit, there's Rush, there's Hope, there's like even Subtle is on our TO team. There's Big Ron. Some other ones I'm forgetting. There's that's Hope. Yeah, that guy Jason, Brandon, our stream managers too, because they do a fuck ton of work for very little glory. Like they're just behind that computer, like updating everything and uploading videos, which is really it's like super time consuming. So shout out to our stream managers, Knox, Joe, the other guys that I don't know your names yet, but shout outs to you guys. And then shout outs to other events that kind of grow the community. And so like one of the other things that I help with or like help start was like Smash Sisters and stuff. And that's just something to target new players and get them to play more Smash kind of. So I see it very similarly as like the amateur bracket or like, you know, just get more sets in there, have more fun, play the game even more. So stuff like that. So shout outs to Lil for helping with that too.
Got one of these from you guys during Pound, right?
That is, that's our bracelet.
Yeah, you guys drew such big crowds at Pound. It was amazing. Everyone was getting hyped.
It was super cool. It was definitely fun. I'm a little upset that our streamer wasn't able to, like his computer died out, so we hand cammed it.
Oh.
So what was gonna be like one of our best streams turned out to be not the best.
Did you stream it off the hand cam?
Oh, sorry, not stream, just like recording.
Okay. That would have been kind of cool, though. It would have been like you're at the event and you're watching over everyone's shoulders.
Yeah, we could have. What's that, like Periscope? It's like that.
Yeah.
Or like whatever.
You guys were stealing the show for hours at Pound. Like you guys were the loudest voices for sets and sets and sets. Yeah, like the entire half of the room where you guys were playing, like everyone was just turning up to watch and like wanted to see what was going on and stuff. It was really, really cool. So, I mean, like if you're getting more people into Smash and there's like you're showing that like Smash Sisters have a home like wherever they go, that's you couldn't ask for like a better promotion of that idea. So I thought you guys, you know, succeeded wildly at Pound. I was really glad to see that work out.
It's always easy to kind of forget how other people see the events. Like as a TO, it's like, oh, okay, oh, everything ran horribly. Like streamer died. Like the organization was horrible. Like the teams were uneven and unbalanced. Like, oh fuck, what a total fuck up. And like everyone's just having a great time. You're like, okay, I guess it's not the worst.
or the Web 2.7 Classic, right? Like someone ran off with the tournament winnings. That's happened a few times before.
Like a random person?
Yeah, like people would just like take the envelope that the money was like all kept in, and they would like leave from the venue, things like that. Anti-shoutouts to guys like that.
Don't steal.
Yeah.
Don't be mean
to those guys. That's like I love Nebs because I leave my phone lying around all the time in my wallet.
This is New York.
No one's gonna steal it, and it hasn't been stolen yet. So
well, I think everybody kind of knows everybody there by now.
Yeah.
Like if you steal, you're kicked out of the Smash community forever for like what, $50? Is it really worth it?
Hey, man, you gotta get that what's like $50? I don't know. Gotta get that new headset or something.
Buy Overwatch.
Overwatch. It's like what, 2 Steam games?
Yeah.
Not even if you count the tax. They're gonna have to
Street Fighter 5, like not even.
What a horrible trade.
Wait, so do you guys have shout-outs? I'm pretty much.
Shout-outs to Ollie, Northeastern Smasher. He's a pretty cool guy.
I was definitely thinking of Ollie from
Game of Thrones.
Oh God.
Shout-outs to him too. I've never seen the show. I don't know who Ollie is. Game of Thrones.
You never will.
Probably a good show though, so I guess shout-outs to that.
Okay. I have shout-outs for my boy Papa John. He's secretly the best player. Like, yeah, he's awesome. He's one of my closest friends in real life. I got to hang out with him at Pound. Yeah, I'll get to hang out with you again like soon for Rhode Island.
Yeah, for sure. And for those who don't know, Tien, me, and Papa John, we went to school together. Like, we went to NYU.
Oh, see,
you guys were fiending so hard at that point. I remember. So, Emily, you were not always a good student at times. You would sometimes like skive off of economics or something to play Smash Brothers at Carlisle Towers. I remember that.
Like after
you would just say like Uno Mas or something, and it would be like 11:45 a.m.
before class, right? Just a quick game before class. And if
I
it
would like
led
run off to Orgo, and I would come back, and you guys would still be playing. And that's how I know you guys hadn't moved at all.
yeah, and that's why we never hung out because you were going to class while we were doing the important.
Wow, what a nerd.
We'll go to plan.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on. Thanks for coming on, Emily, and thanks for like awesomely showing up the way you did, Giovanni. That was we had a really awesome conversation. Yeah. Hope we learned something about like running tournaments and also tournament structure. I'll have some ideas to work with.
And why?
And about seeding a bracket and why it's necessary.
I
Yeah,
know
it's
it's
done.
a reason. I just want I like to nitpick.
All right. We'll see
Cool.
you
Well,
guys.
thanks for having us.
Yep. See you guys. Have a good night. See you guys next time.
Bye.
Let me know when you turn into Iron Man.